So most of those mothers giving birth to people with albinism are being like discriminated upon in their community. People are afraid of them. People are afraid to associate themselves with them.
Welcome to Witch Hunt, the podcast discussing the damage done when we do not treat others as fully human. I'm Josh Hutchinson.
I'm Sarah Jack. On today's episode, we're discussing a critical human rights issue affecting people all around the world.
We're joined by Jay Mohammed Osman Kamara, Executive Director of the Sierra Leone Association of Persons with Albinism, or SLAPWA.
We met Jay at the Witchcraft and Human Rights Conference in Lancaster, England, where he shared powerful insights about how witchcraft accusations impact persons with albinism.
In Sierra Leone and other parts of Africa, persons with albinism face deadly misconceptions, discrimination, and ritual attacks, all fueled by supernatural beliefs.
Jay explains how these harmful practices affect not just individuals, but entire families, and how his organization is working to create change through education, advocacy, and direct support.
He also discusses how climate change is creating additional challenges for persons with albinism, and why better data collection and government protection are urgently needed.
This conversation touches on some difficult topics, including discrimination, violence, and suicide, but it also offers hope through the important work being done by SLAPWA and other organizations.
If you or someone you know is in crisis and you are in the United States, contact the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline now. Call or text 988 or visit 988lifeline.org to chat with a counselor. In the United Kingdom, call 111 or text SHOUT to 85258. In Canada, call or text 988. In Sierra Leone, dial 019.
We're grateful to Jay for sharing his experience and expertise.
Let's get started.
It was so wonderful to meet you at the Witchcraft and Human Rights Conference in Lancaster, England in September. Thank you for coming on Witch Hunt Podcast. Can you introduce yourself and tell us about your work?
Okay, thank you too. And it was nice meeting you and Jess on that particular event. Yeah, so I am Mohammed Osman Kamara, the Executive Director for Sierra Leone Association of Persons with Albinism. It's SLAPWA for short, but you can also call me Jay.
And is there anything that we should know about Sierra Leone? What would you like us to know about your country?
Oh, yeah. Sierra Leone is like a nickname, Sierra Leone, the Lion Mountain, and you can also say the Diamond of Africa. And it's a country of more than 14 ethnic, like say, types or languages that people speak. Friendly people, a land full of natural resources, nice beaches with white sand and every other thing, with amazing people that are very welcoming to every person around the world. So it's a very peaceful country right now, though on the index, the standard of living, we're down, but the people are amazing. So it's a very nice place for people to visit.
Today, we're going to talk about your organization. We want to start with helping people understand the condition of albinism. What do people need to know when they start listening to this conversation?
Okay. Yeah, people with albinism are just like any other person. But albinism is a condition, a recessive genetic condition, which is, we can say, the mutilation of a melanin, which is the thing that is responsible to give coloration to the skin. It can be total absence of that particular gene or partial absence of the gene. It can be you have some amount of melanin, but not much. And so you also very sensitive to the light. It affects the eyes, the ear, and then the skin. We lack melanin in this part. And because of that lack, we are prone to skin cancer, and also we are short-sighted. And the physical appearance of person with albinism also we warrant name callings And also some kids will be very afraid of people with albinism down here. So people need to understand albinism is just a genetic condition, and it's because both parents are carrier of the gene. That's why they give birth to a child with albinism. A single parent with the gene having sexual relationship, intercourse with another person who does not have the gene, they cannot give birth to a person with albinism. Both parents need to be carriers of the gene. So that's it about albinism, and you inherit it. So it's heredity, it's genetic. So there is no much explanation about albinism rather than it's very genetic and there is no cure. And it's cut across all race, all ethnicity around the world. And I believe in all living things. Animals, we have animals which have albinism. We have lions, elephants, snakes that have albinism. So albinism cuts across all living things and all races. Yeah. So that is about albinism. The Sierra Leone Association of Persons with Albinism is founded in 2015, and then we registered officially with the Freetown City Council in 2017, and then with the Ministry of Social Welfare in 2018, the Sierra Leone Union on Disability Issues, because also people with albinism are under the community of people with disability in general in Sierra Leone, or I think everywhere right now in the world, they consider us as persons with impairment. We are under the category of people with disability. And then we registered the Youth Commission in 2020, and we are partnered with the National Disability Commission. We in Sierra Leone. We have that good relationship with Disability Commission of Sierra Leone. We've been in existence since then, 2015, up till now. We have our first project since the establishment of the organization. We have our first official project, which like a 3-year project with pro-victims at PVF, with the help of Medical Assistance Sierra Leone, who are based in the UK, who have been helping us since 2019 with sunscreen, sun protective gears, some used clothing, hats, sunglasses to give to our members all across the country since 2019 till date. And they help us to secure that particular project jointly. We applied for the project jointly and then we secured the project. And the project has ended in 2024, this September. So we are very, very, very amazed to have that project, and that project has helped us reach out to communities that we haven't reached out to. We have developed a booklet called Support and Advice Booklet for people with albinism. That is for people with albinism, parents and caregivers, which educates people about how to take care of what's this albinism first, how to protect yourself from the sun, and how to overcome stigmatization and neglect discrimination in social gathering in their community, and how to put on sunscreen, where and where to put it on, and how to protect yourself from the sun, like wearing of SPF clothing materials, using umbrellas, and all those things, because the sun is our greatest enemy in this particular area of climate change, the increase heat. We're facing a lot of challenges in Sierra Leone, and also we're trying to solve the myths that surround albinism, because myths that surround albinism, from witchcraft, devilish accusation, like you say, people with albinism are devil, they don't die, they just disappear. Those are the comments that we get from people when passing on the streets of Freetown or in the provincial areas. We have people who have discarded. So we wanted to change that narrative. That's the main sense that we have as person with albinism, that we have should for SLAPWA to come first, like the organization, because we wanted to reduce the stigma, the discrimination and the neglect, and also the exclusion, because society has been excluding us for a long time in all developmental activities, because the stereotype that surrounds our condition. Our mothers that give birth to us have been like marginalized, accused of witchcraft because they said you give birth to a devil. And some fathers will like just abandon the mother and the kid because the kid have albinism, and they're saying they are not responsible. They are not responsible for the birth of that child because both of them are dark, or the father is very melanated, and the kid that they give birth to is like very pale, without melanin, very white. So they say, if they are not saying you cheat with a white man, they will say there's no belief that you washed you in the night, and so devil entered you, or you are at the stream side or the river side, and then devil go into the stomach of the mother, or you are at your messes and then get sexual intercourse with your partner, and then you conceive a person with albinism. Or it's just a devil, in fact. It's just a spirit that's coming to your stomach, and then the kid is there, and the kid will definitely not die, it will just disappear. So all of those statements, the moms are the ones that are first and facing the discrimination before the child, because the child don't have the five senses, are not like developed yet, but the discrimination has been faced by the mom. And so because of that societal myth or societal exclusion of people, like the ill treatment, the harmful practices, because they will go and throw a child away because they have albinism, sometimes the mom will, because of that pressure from society, will just go and throw the child in the forest, or on like in the sea, the water, the stream around the villages. So that has caused us alarming. It's very alarming. And we see how society is treating us. People will come in a bus. They will not want to sit close to you. People will be spitting on their chest, thinking that when they do that, they will not give birth to a child with albinism. So all of those myths are the ones that warrant us to start an organization like this, to see how we can reduce the stigma, the neglect, the prejudice, the myth surrounds albinism in Sierra Leone. That is why we formed the organization, and the organization has been doing a lot with the funds that we receive. And we have received funds from different organizations to complement this particular project that we have from UNDP, which that fund help us go around the country to about 14 districts, and also in Freetown, some up to 16 districts. We engage them in training of teachers for them to understand how to accommodate kids with albinism in schools, because the discrimination in school and learning institution is immense. So we have a lot of dropouts of people with albinism in Sierra Leone that are not going to school because of the discrimination, the neglect by parents, and the unfair treatment, the inhuman treatment by stakeholders in society, like within the school environment, within hospital, when going for medical facility too, because when going for medical services at the hospital, because people with disability in general should have free healthcare in Sierra Leone. That's what's on the Disability Act of 2011. But albinism is not held fully in the Disability Act. But the definition of a person with albinism, that the impairment, its recency and other things are there, which encompasses people with albinism. But people don't know because it's not like feasible, the visibility is not there. So we find it difficult to access those services, those free services that we should get. We are not getting them. So because of that, we are facing a lot of difficulties. The economic and social impact of our condition is like not favorable for people with albinism in Sierra Leone. And because of that, the organization has engaged community meetings at community level, both in the provinces and in Freetown, with about 1,000, more than 1,000 teachers that we have engaged across the country to understand the condition of people with albinism and how they should treat us in those learning institutions. And we engage some medical people like the midwives in hospital, for them to understand how to welcome difference, for them to understand the condition of albinism. Because honestly, in the medical field, that they're supposed to know the condition of people with albinism are not well educated in that realm, because society is not like in our schools. They just tell you about what is albino or what is albinism, but they don't go in depth about the condition. So most of the medical people still harbor that belief that people with albinism are also devilish. They don't die. It's because of witchcraft that the mother gave birth to a child, or it's because of a curse within the family that they give birth to a child with albinism. So most of those mothers giving birth to people with albinism are being like discriminated upon in their community. People are afraid of them. People are afraid to associate themselves with them. And then for the kids, people don't want to touch people with albinism. So most people they are thinking that when they are in contact with a child or a person with albinism, they'll give birth to a person with albinism. So we have to engage the media, both print, social media, and also electronics media, to pass on the information that we are just like any other person and we deserve rights, respect, and dignity from any other person. So that is what has been the job of the organization so far. And we are still continuing with our work of advocacy, education, and building a community, and provision of eye care, and also the sunscreen, that's prevention of skin cancer. So those have been our thematic areas that we're working on. Most importantly, we want to build community. So within the project is called Creating a Community and Promoting Rights of People with Albinism. So we'll be creating that community and promoting the rights of people with albinism, because when you have a community of people with albinism, like, they face the same challenges, and some people within the community have overcome those challenges that they are facing. That's what the younger ones coming up, for them to understand they can also conquer all the discrimination, conquer all the challenges that they're facing, and also excel in life and achieve their dreams. So that basically a synopsis, or in a nutshell, what the organization stands for and why we formed the Sierra Leone Association of Persons with Albinism.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for going into all of that. I just learned a lot just now listening to you. All the ways that the misunderstanding is not a big enough word, but the misconceptions and how all of that just affects the family and then the community, and how that ripples through everything. And it's so destructive. And thank you for explaining that. Your organization is so critical. And it sounds like you're starting these partnerships that are going to develop more health education in health organizations and then in schools. One of the things that we've talked about on this program previously is the United Nations Resolution 47.8, the elimination of harmful practices related to accusations of witchcraft and ritual attacks. Can you tell us what the significance of that resolution is to your organization?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that question. And I was part of the conference at Lancaster, which we have funds from Lancaster, like 2 smaller funds. And that one is I think is the third one that we're having with them. So we have, the one is Demystifying Albinism in Sierra Leone, which we showcase people with albinism within the albinism community that have overcome the challenges, and they have become somebody in their respective profession. Because people have myths about albinism, like people with albinism don't achieve certain things. They are not worthy to be part of the community. They cannot amount to anything in life, because that's the belief. So when you have kids with albinism, kids, like you have children that you've given birth to, and then within that group of children, you have a child with albinism there. The child with albinism is normally not considered as any person relevant in the family. It will not amount to anything. So that's the belief of basically communities in Sierra Leone, people in Sierra Leone. So we showcase people that are teachers, people that are carpenters, people that are social workers. They have degree in social work and they are trying to have their degree in law. We have somebody who is a model or is also a diploma holder in tourism management. We have teachers. So we have people who are nurses within the community. So we showcase them. And there's a paper coming out for that. And then the next one is with Lancaster is another one, as a short one, which want to expand on that particular thing, doing some research and everything within that project, which enabled me to be part of the Witchcraft conference. The resolution is said 47.8, which tried to criminalize the witchcrafts and harmful practices of people. So it's affecting us gravely, and that resolution will really, really help people with albinism in Sierra Leone, because to be honest with you, we were not aware about the conference until Lancaster University approached us and said, within the budget of this recent project that we're working on, we want you guys to be part of this particular conference. And they explained to us that this resolution has been pioneered by Charlotte Faker, the independent expert on albinism then, that is IK, and another person, which I don't remember the name, but they were the main pioneers of that particular resolution until it was passed. And that resolution is more or less giving people that are accused of witchcraft and the harmful practices that people are using the body parts of people with albinism to perform ritual, and that is causing mayhem or causing people with albinism to lose their lives because of other people's beliefs. People believe that they will use our body parts to create riches and wealth. And how can you use the life of a human being for your own selfish gain, just because you believe that those parts will give you wealth? That's witchcraft. That's harmful practices. So the resolution, because it informs states or people that have signed to that resolution that you guys should protect people who are accused of witchcraft. People who are like harmful practices are like, they are targets for harmful practices within the population, within your citizens in your country. You should protect them from those harmful practices, from those witchcraft accusations. And there should be, I believe, there should not just be like those laws. There should be those laws, and they need to be implemented. And the resolution will not be signed, and then states parties that have signed to the resolution and they are not like protecting people when those harmful practices or those witchcraft accusations people have been accused of witchcraft within the country, and then they are not taking any tangible action to stop people of doing those things. So this resolution will help people with abilities. Since we have knowledge about it right now, we'll definitely see to it that we quote that particular resolution in our advocacy, in our community meetings, within the membership of the organization, for them to understand that this is another provision that the United Nations has made that we can quote, because our country like Sierra Leone signed to that one. And we'll see how to raise awareness around that particular resolution. We'll definitely work with Lancaster to see how the witchcraft, to see how we can reach out to them. And if it's a proposal, we write to them to, at least if it is a day or a 2-day conference or a symposium, to educate the disability community, not just people with albinism, but also the disability community, to be aware of that particular resolution, and to call on government to take tangible actions on how they will end this witchcraft accusation and the harmful practices against people, every person in Sierra Leone, but also people with disability, old people and people with albinism, from being accused from witchcraft accusation and other things, all those harmful practices, how to put a stop to them or to reduce them. So we'll definitely see how we can work in partnership. All that be, even you guys there. So if you guys can, we'll definitely talk on that, how we could do some exchange visit to know exactly how you guys are working there. And we're going to take those information from you guys there and see how we can implement some of them there. And one thing that we definitely would be doing is how we can start the podcast talking about the issues, the challenges, the discrimination, and all the other things that people with albinism are facing. Those are the ways we definitely will shine a light on those challenges that we are facing, like the accusation and harmful practices is very immense, and people have undergone a lot of discrimination, neglect, and those harmful practices. They've endured that one, and we want to see how those harmful practices can be mitigated, reduced, or eradicated.
What can the Sierra Leone government do better to help persons with albinism?
Honestly, it's for them to implement the provisions. The provisions in the resolution 47.8, and also how they can provide the necessary needs of people with albinism, and put in laws that will exact fines, and also even, I don't want to say it, but jail terms for people if you cannot pay the fine for you like accusing or wanna like use the body parts of a person with that, because the world is a global village now. Things that are happening in South Africa might be happening here because we have a revolution for a man that owns a fatherless home. They call the home Fatima's home. You understand? So they call the home Fatima's home. There is a home for fatherless and motherless children. The man explained to us how he was on a research project at Kabbalah, I think is a northern part of Sierra Leone. The particular research that they undertook, they were at a village within Kabbalah. And that particular village, they have some kids with albinism there. And they were sitting at the hut talking, and then somebody brought the point to him that this boy that is passing, he was pointing at a child with albinism, said they would definitely use that child for the next year ritual for cleansing of the land. He asked, he probed in and said, has this been going on? They said, yes, they have been doing that particular ritual sacrifice for a while now. And people are coming in from that part of the country. They're like people who are like, or want political figures, or also people who want to grow their business, people who want to achieve a lot within society are coming there for those sacrifices to be made for them. But we did not know at that time. It's not official. There is no official report on that. But they said when they were doing the research, they covered that. But since it was just for the world to know what happened during the war and how people have been suffering during the war and all, that is what they were trying to gather. And the research did not cover that particular. So the stories that they find out did not put it in the research. So what they know definitely, it tries to save the child. And it did try and save the child, brought the child to Freetown. And then then inform the parents after months. They inform the parent that your child is in Freetown with me. So the parents come there. So now what they're doing is the child, because within that particular family, their cousins, they normally give birth to kids with albinism. So from that family, they have 2 children, about 5 of them are person with albinism. Right now, they have younger ones like 7 and 6 years old that are with the man right now in Freetown. So that one happened back then during the war, the 11-year war in Sierra Leone. So that would tell you that things are happening in the dark that we don't know about, that are happening. They're using people with albinism for ritual purposes here, but it's alarming there. And because people with albinism here believe not to die, they just disappear. And if kids with albinism disappear, they would think that this is the way how they will die. So their parents or their caregivers will not like look for them. So that's the situation. So our government can put some strategies in place, some policies in place to see how they can protect people with albinism, not just from those ritual attacks that we have found out about now, but also the harmful practices. Because if the killing is like, that's a murder case. If you find out somebody that is using people with albinism for ritual purpose, that's murder. You're killing the person. So that's an old ball game, old sentence, every other thing. But when people with albinism are being thrown away by their parents, that's also a harmful practice to that kid. And we are not taking light with people who are doing that. And sometimes you don't know the mom that threw the kid away. Fathers abandon the mom and the kid sometimes. And those are things that there should be laws to protect the mother and the kid. Because there is not they are making to be a person with albinism. And the mother is just a carrier of the pregnancy, not that the mother is is the one that impregnates herself. The father impregnates the mom. So anything that comes out from that pregnancy, both partners need to take responsibility of that child. So if they're doing like abandoning the kids, don't take care of the mom, accusing the mom of being a witch, accusing the mom of prostituting like adultery or other things, is not good. And if the child grows up to hear that those are the accusations levied on his or her mom, that will not be a good thing for the child. The mental health of the child will be compromised. The discrimination in school, the provocation, name calling, all those things will affect us. And we have endured all those things coming up in schools, in our community, the provocation, the discrimination, the neglect by our parents, some parents, and the neglect by community, the exclusion of kids participating in extracurricular activity within the school premises. Those are things that will isolate a child with albinism. Self-isolation, self-hate, suicidal thoughts, mental health issues, stress, all of those things, anxieties, all of those things are not good for a child to grow up well. So if people are emotionally torturing people with albinism and also physically, it will not help a child to grow well or to achieve his dream or his goals in life. So those are the things that we need governments to come on board. The government to come on board, put some policies in place, put some laws, involve us for us to be feasible in the Disability Act, and also improve on the Disability Act or make a provision for us solely like persons with disability. This policy that is passed now, this resolution, how can they implement that resolution? How can they like domesticate it and protect people with albinism from all those challenges, from all those neglects, from all those discrimination, from all those witchcraft accusations? Because if they are calling you devil, you don't die. If they are saying they give birth to you because your mother is a witch, and all those accusations, it's not good for the child. It's not good for also the parent, because the parents will abandon the child because of those comments, will not associate themselves, will not go out to the child, they will keep the child at home, but getting the child involved in community and social gatherings and also in school, because some people will not even send their child to school because they said it's a waste of money. They cannot see all those beliefs are there. They are wasting their money to send them to school. So the government needs to put strategies and policies in place to see how they can support the growth force of people with albinism and also organizations that are working of people with albinism by empowering them financially, giving them support to propagate or to advocate and campaign for the rights of people with albinism is also a good way to see how they can limit the stigma, the discrimination that associated with people with albinism in Sierra Leone, and how they can put policies and laws in place to protect and promote the rights of people with albinism, and how they should get state actors involved. Civil society organization also should come on board and involving aspects of albinism in the implementation or in the carry-on of their day-to-day organizational work in the country. That's really, really help. Well, government need to put strategies, need to put policies need to empower organizations that are working on albinism in Sierra Leone.
Thank you so much. Well, I was listening to you and I was reflecting on 47.8. I know one of the things that Maluka and Mitty Drummond reminded us all was how significant data is to getting action taken. What kind of data can be collected and used to move protections forward for persons with albinism?
I'm very, very happy that you brought that up. For the data collection is it's a vital point that you've raised up. It's very, very important for us to know exactly the number of people with albinism in Sierra Leone, because that, I believe, is the data first we need to collect to know the exact number of people with albinism. The census in 2015, the national census that took place, they said it's 502 people with albinism in Sierra Leone, but it's back then 2015. Then within that 2015 census, we also challenge that particular census that we're more than that in Sierra Leone, because within Freetown, we have more than 300 people with albinism. Just talk about all the other 14 districts and how to reach areas that we cannot reach. So we definitely, and also SLAPWA has reached out to about 500 people with albinism, more than that, in fact. So we definitely know we're more than that, and we need the government to prioritize collecting data for people with albinism, how they can collect data and know exactly how big the problem is, so we can provide solution to the protection of people with albinism, provision of protective gears for UVA, is to see how we can make educational institutions be accessible to people with albinism, the provision of learning aid devices that will help people with albinism learn more, to know exactly the treatment or the socioeconomic status of people with albinism in Sierra Leone, because also the economic poverty is a very important thing when it comes to advocating for the rights for people. Because if they are accusing you of witchcraft and you're also poor, people will accuse you more that you're witch, because you cannot provide for yourself, and you look dirty all the time. You wear unclean clothes. You wear clothes that are not presentable, and you cannot shave properly. You cannot keep yourself. You cannot provide proper meal for yourself. So you look tattered, you look not presentable. So when people see you, they attribute witchcraft and other things towards you because of that particular situation that you are in. So if the livelihood project is being done, that will help. And also when you're doing census, you ask people about all those things, will help to know exactly how the poverty rate within the community is, how many people are with albinism in Sierra Leone in general. You understand? That will help the government to share the wealth of the nation accordingly, because they know exactly the number of people with albinism, and they know where they are, the location that they are, the location that have more people with albinism. So when they are providing sunscreen or sun hat or sunglasses, they know where to send more, where to send less. And also it will help the organization like Sierra Leone Association to reach out to its members in those particular regions or those particular communities. That will help immensely. And even donor partners will have a valuable assets to work on. They have the information to use to really help out people with albinism in Sierra Leone. They really need to do that. They really need to know the number of people with albinism, those that are educated, those are dropouts, how many kids that are going to school, those are not going to school, how many older people are with albinism. You understand? And that's when it disaggregates the population like that. You definitely know what to do, how to target, which organization you directly take care of the kids with albinism, which organization will attack employment, to know exactly how many people have certificates and diplomas. So by that way, we will improve the life of people with albinism within Sierra Leone.
And confronting the stigmatization, Do you have a message for people who hold misconceptions about persons with albinism?
Yeah, the message is very simple and clear. We are human beings like anyone else. We breathe, we eat, we use the other room to the restroom, just like any other person. Yes, we know we have challenges because we lack melanin. That's the only thing. It's a genetic condition. It's not contagious. I will not say church and then albinism transfers to you directly or at that instant. So people need to know that we are just as human as you. And if you treat us right, then the idea or the knowledge too that we have will be shared. We will also contribute to national development. And the name calling, the neglect, the ill treatment, the inhuman treatment of people with albinism by them out there that are stigmatizing and discriminating us, it's causing people to have mental health issues. It's causing people to self-hate themselves. It's causing people to think about committing suicide. So that simple action, that simple thing that they're doing to us, that it seems like it's nothing to call somebody names that they don't want to be called, not involving them in activities that they are supposed to be part of, not giving their rights to them, not try to protect them from these harmful practices and accusations, and excluding them from developmental activities in all states of life will cause valuable parts of the population within Sierra Leone to be left out. And we have knowledge, we have people who are brilliant, we have people who can commit to national development, we have people who can contribute immensely in all walks of life. If the provisions, if the reasonable accommodation is being given to people with albinism, then we can contribute to all walks of life that they're doing. And we are saying that we should embrace inclusion and say no to discrimination, because simple provocation or simple name calling can cause somebody to take his or her life. So if you don't want people to commit suicide because of the words you spoke, the names you call people that they don't want, stop discriminating and neglecting or stigmatizing people with albinism in Sierra Leone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you want to be sure to discuss with us today for the listeners to hear?
Everyone listening to the podcast should see how they can help propagate the information that they have gathered today, that albinism is a genetic condition. It's not contagious. People with albinism are just like any other person, that our simple name calling and steering or ill treatment to people with albinism will cause people to hate themselves, and which we don't want, to commit mental health issues, that they should stop and see how they can reach out to the organization if they want to help support the work that the organization is doing. Also, you can reach out to the organization. I believe you have the website and all. We definitely, you go on www.albinismsierraleone.org, or you can reach out to our Facebook page. That will help. You can email us on slapwa.sl@gmail.com. That's what you're able to reach out to us, because we need as much partnership as possible to propagate the issues of people with albinism. Honestly, we're at a point now in life, globally, climate change and increased heat is affecting people with albinism more than people that are not with albinism. I cannot say the climate change is not affecting it. The increase is not affecting everybody in the world right now. But people with albinism are suffering the more, because prior to the issue of increased heat and all, we have been having skin cancer, skin problem, blemishes, skin cancer issues. With the advent now of this climate change issue, the increased heat and all, we are suffering heavily, immensely. Even us protecting ourselves, wearing long sleeve, putting on sunscreen, wear hard sunglasses, we are still suffering. We're still having some blisters. We're still having some dark spots. All because of the UVAs from the sun. And people that are working on climate change issues, because when your skin also is damaged, like you have blisters, you have dark spots and all, they will call you other names. They will call you leopards. They will call you ghost. They will call you devil. They will call you that you're a zombie. Just all those names that they are calling you. How can you cope in life with all those names? So they are warranting some witchcraft accusation too, because your skin looks bad. And people, when your skin looks bad, they will say, you're a witch. You don't look good. You don't look at, people don't want to associate themselves with you. That will cost people's life. Mental health, they will commit suicide because of the way society is treating them. And we want people who are working on climate change issues, the mitigation of it, should definitely see how they can work with people with albinism or the Sierra Leone Association of Persons with Albinism, because we can reach out to people with albinism very fast within the community. So we are not in isolation. We have an open door and open arms to everybody that wants to work with the organization in Sierra Leone. We have announced, and then definitely I know you guys will post links to our website.
Yeah.
And you can contact Sia and Joss, and they will definitely reach out to us.
Yes.
They are very good partners right now. So thank you for having me in your podcast today. And I hope the information that I've given on behalf of the Sierra Leone Association of Persons with Albinism helps in propagating the issues of people with albinism, not just in Sierra Leone here, but globally. And we hope to come back on the podcast again. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been quite wonderful having you here, and we'll definitely invite you back. You're welcome anytime you have something to share, whatever that is. If you want to, just the more this message gets out there, the better.
Yeah, the more. We have also, before I forget, I should recognize Sinica. There's an organization in the UK that's helped us with a little bit of fun for us to see how we can reach out to people who have health issues, but it's an open fund that we can use. So I want to recognize them as they've been helpful to the organization, to SLAPWA, and also I'll definitely try to recognize UNDP, Medical Assistance Sierra Leone, Lancaster University, you that giving us the platform today, and all other partners that have been helping us, and all members of the community of people with albinism in Sierra Leone, and family members. Because when you're talking about albinism, you have to involve the parents and also the relative family members of people with albinism, because the stigma is a branch. Just because you have a person with albinism within your family, people are associating yourself. If I get married to this person, well, definitely give birth to a child with albinism, because this person is related or is a brother to a person with albinism, or a sister to a person with albinism. This issue is very broad. People are suffering just because they have a single person within a family with a person with albinism. And that's also because people are accusing them of that. They turn the hate to that particular person with albinism, because it's the cause. People will say, you are the cause of people neglecting me, people talking discriminatory to me, and people accusing me of being carrier of the gene of a person with albinism because you are my brother or you are my sister. So it's complex, and it's very, very challenging for people with albinism and their families down in Africa here. It's very, very serious, because the way Black people think, they are thinking like they're being discriminated in a white-dominated country in the Western world. That's how people with albinism are feeling down here in Africa. You're white within a melanated dominated country or continent. You've been appear like this, just the look, people will start discriminating you. So the pains that they are feeling there, we're feeling the same pain down here. So people should understand that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just, yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Witch Hunt.
Join us every week.
Have a great today and a beautiful tomorrow.